What's up everyone, Joe with Treasure Farms. I'm a habitat specialist with Whitetail Habitat Solutions alongside Jeff Sturgis and the gang. Hope everyone is well. We're back on the farm. Wanted to bring you guys a quick update. There's a big old strutting tom. I don't know how to flip this around, hold on. We have seen basically everything today already. We just got started. Deer, turkey, birds of prey. There were some on the driveway. Love this time of year though. Look at the trees filling in all our pockets. Some of the younger pines around. It's a little tougher to see now with things growing up. But man, what a sight. He is strutting his thing. Woo! Boy, get him! We had an awesome turkey double this year for the first time. Got my buddy his first bird again for another year, a different person obviously, which is fantastic. But I love that when we're working on our deer habitat that we are really filling the lowest holes in the bucket when it comes to all habitat, seeing rabbits, turkeys, and everything. This was our worst pocket here. As far as the fence was completely taken down before I put up the welded wire, and you can see even the new cuttings are already leafing out right there, and then even some of the small ones. I'll try and zoom in here in a second, but giving them much more room to breathe and not have weed competition by putting them in the center of the weed mat has really helped. Looks like the dogwood might be the only thing that is hasn't leafed out yet. The reason I know that is because I staggered them as far as the star pattern across from each other, and both those exact sides haven't germinated, but all the other ones and across have germinated, or at least leafed out. So we'll see if they're a little bit delayed, or if they're going to struggle in this drier soil. Coming for you boys. Ha! Got some. Dogwood have leafed out as well. Might just be some different areas, different soil types and sand, but everything still looking good. All right, so as you can see behind me, we're getting some mulch down around our mass trees. Just got the trailer out hooked behind the tractor with this heavy hitch, which is nice, just because for those of us that don't have a side-by-side, but maybe do have a tractor, I'm sure there's many ways to hook up kind of a hitch, but that's nice because you can put suitcase weights on it if needed, you know, ballast the tractor a little bit, or just hook up a hitch and start pulling this trailer that I think someone like manually welded that I picked up for a few $100 a couple of years back. These back here in more of our morning and bedding areas, deer love to run through this poplar. And I don't know if you remember some videos from maybe the hunting season where they're just thrashing it all around, even the younger stuff. It's so cool to watch. But anyways, the reason that we are doing more hard mast in the bedding areas is because I want you guys to think about when you have that mature buck, we're identifying, you know, his bedroom, or let's just say his sanctuary, that's 100 yards, 200 yards, 300 yards. And during the daylight hours, they're really not leaving that area. That's their main, area. That's why they're so hard to really come by during the daylight. And that's why 5% or less of properties really have and encompass that daylight movement of the mature deer in the area. And when they're back in those areas, they're really munching on, you know, woody shrub tips and browse and briars and all that good stuff that they're going to find kind of back in their bedrooms. And so when we can complement with that with different acorns that drop at different parts of the year, maybe chestnut and things like that, it really coincides with those food groups well. I hope that makes sense because that's what they're naturally already looking for instead of a random apple tree. However, when we think about, you know, like we always say, deer feed 5 times in a day, morning, midday, evening, our evening hunt. and 2 at night. The 2 at night, we don't really care about, right? It's at dark. They can be on our neighbor's property. They can be in those destination food sources, the ag fields, all that good stuff. It does not matter. But that third feeding of the day, they come out to their greens, right? That's how they hydrate, even though they still drink water. Remember that deer get most of their hydration actually through the greens that they eat. And that soft mass coincides really well with that feeding. Could be your apple, persimmon, pear, crabapple, all that good stuff. So that's what we have out in the front. When you've seen some of these past videos, kind of straightening up fences, I found another 1 or 2 trees that didn't make it, just I think from mice nests and stuff. So we probably lost 4 total up there, which isn't too crazy, but we're finally getting to the point where you can see these other trees are coming out of the tubes, oaks and chestnuts, a lot of the other fruit trees, especially the apple tends to be growing fairly quick on those. So it's nice to see. We're gonna get the rest of this mulch down. This is my favorite time of year. It's just also overwhelming. I have to get the buckwheat in the ground, get some corn in the ground. Already pretty much late for that. Buckwheat, I'm coming right up on my 8-week mark. My last spraying that I did where the buckwheat is going, I had some switchgrass, which isn't normal, but I'm reclaiming a little bit of land and taking back some switchgrass. Not this, but there is switchgrass in here. And for whatever reason, I might have been driving a touch quicker in a rush, and it didn't die very well. And it was also covered by mowed switchgrass thatch. If you remember me mowing the switchgrass, talking about kind of getting ready during winter, not needing to mow when fawns are born, which that's a plus. But I still have 1 to 2 foot grass now because maybe the herbicide didn't get down to it with that thatch. So it might have been better if I would have just waited another couple of weeks. It would have been a little bit taller, and then the herbicide definitely would have gotten on to that grass. And I had glyphosate and 2,4-D in there. Should have definitely wiped it out, no problem. So, which another example was for any, not in this area, but in the other area, switchgrass that was growing around, I used a backpack sprayer and sprayed around some of the trees and it killed it fine. So pretty sure that was the issue, but thought I would mention that in case some of you do end up having thatch layers before you spray. But anyway, so that's just kind of the overwhelming part. Now I have switchgrass to deal with. I have, poplar in these areas, since we're back in these morning and bedding areas, I'm totally okay with. It's going to be mixed in with pine and switchgrass and other shrubs. So this is just filling in so nicely. This is the area where we kind of joke, or even Jeff would joke in some of his videos when he went to a client that had sprayed 7 times too much simazine in his first year trying. That was me, and that was this area. And I had strips kind of through here where it really delayed pretty much the whole year. Not only switchgrass didn't come up, even though there actually is some back there, but everything was delayed because the residual was so long because I sprayed way too much. More is not always better when it comes to herbicide, guys. But so I might end up, I don't have time without a major water source here. I can use my neighbors, but I don't want to clean my sprayer at my neighbors. I just don't think that's too polite. And I can't bring it home and come back. I mean, I could spray pines, I could spray switchgrass, I could spray again for the food plot, all these different things, which a lot of these, clethodem and some of these other grassy areas that I want to remove. I don't have time to take this home every time, clean the sprayer, bring back, use a new herbicide, or even set up a water system one day. Had birds' nests up front on the porch, the newer porch above the lights. There's nests, there's birds flying around. They were like attacking me when I was going into the barn today. It's just always something new every time. So would like to kind of cover the wood, so that kind of prevents the birds from getting in there and nesting maybe next year. Who knows? We still got the driveway and drainage to work on, which I'm going to get some help from Harold, who does a lot of the gravel and stuff around here. Good guy. Meet with him later this afternoon. And getting this food in, and then August we'll have food plots. So still tons to do. That's not even including blinds, cutting lanes. Haven't done anything back in the woods. I do have some trees that I need to open up, I know, for the deer trail, right? We're always talking about escape routes and things like that. So if you have those diversity pockets or you down some timber, make sure those deer can get through and they feel like they can, escape from predators and such. Otherwise, they might avoid all your hard work that we've been talking about different parts of the year. So I'm going to wrap this up, get the mulch done. We're going to go get the discs, do a little work, and start getting ready to put corn and buckwheat in. Hopefully I can get through that switchgrass. Otherwise, might have to get the sprayer out today maybe and come back in a couple weeks, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. To be putting me a little bit later in August for planting, or we just kill the buckwheat a week early. Not the end of the world. So let's get going. Alright guys, as you can see over here, we're getting some disking done. We're still a little wet in the far corner, but that's okay. Really today for sure trying to get the corn in. And so I kind of double disked the inner area of the farm on this side of the field. This is the switch that did not die. I think just again too much thatch over that. So it's kind of like lower wind with some gusts today. You can see some little fuzzies flying around. So I think I'm gonna try and spray it. I wish I had a sprayer for the tractor and I could stay in the cab, but I can turn it off when the gusts happen and kind of keep going, at least just to spray this switch, which, I mean, maybe 2 acres or so max. It's not too bad. That's actually like one fill up. And then I'm trying to disc some of the other areas that are somewhat dead to keep it dead for the buckwheat, which hopefully I'll come back in then a week or two, which will be like perfect time for planting anyway, so trying not to stress about that. And this will hopefully be dead enough to where the discs work. As most of you know, I started with almost pretty much no equipment, not even a four-wheeler, so this is still fairly new to me when it comes to using things like the disc. It's not a rototiller. So if you have a thick mulch layer, it doesn't work like you might think it would. This is just one pass here, which isn't bad, but you can see this was sprayed and dead. So 2 passes or so, gets it pretty good, or at least enough probably for planting when it comes to a food plot. But it doesn't really eliminate the spraying unless you maybe did it 4, 5, 6 times a year and just kind of kept disking so everything was dead. But that doesn't sound too good for the soil, drying it out constantly. I like just doing the planting, work the soil, add that organic matter back in, or in some areas where the buckwheat's good, just seed into the buckwheat and cultipack it over like we talk about with many people. So all just depends on what you got, what you want to do. But just wanted to bring you up to speed on some of that and where we are. And just feels like so much to do. So I'll keep you posted as this goes. We'll get that corn in, might get a little footage with the planter. That's Dwayne's gonna run over there here shortly and grab it. And it'll be my first time using that, so wish me luck. Time for some corn, guys. We got the old planter on the 4-row. Dwayne's excited to try this thing out. Excited to have some corn for some late season hunting. Randy, the farmer, has left his up to dry really till January and stuff, but now it's just going to be nice to have some of the dedicated areas that I want, that I know will work really well strategy-wise, so excited to try it out. Corn is going in, baby.